Hey guys, Stephen here, and I just wanted to share with you my idea about the Vegas shooting. I think I may know how it happened, how it was carried out by whatever alphabet agency and or military industrial complex grouping of special forces did it. I do not think there was more than one shooter. Well, technically I guess there were, but there was only one human shooter, if that. The rest of the attack was carried out by what I believe to be armed drones. Now, I know what you're saying, but that's the eye of the pyramid for you. The removed pyramidion is information that you're not technically privy to as citizens of the United States government and or world citizens. And this is some of the easiest technology in the world to get, to make, to manufacture cheaply, and with accurate cameras and tracking systems, head tracking systems, with long-range remote control through something like Wi-Fi Direct, and an increased antenna coming from these hotels, the Mandalay Bay around it, etc. I don't think there's any reason in the world why we can't have drones carrying out this attack. That way, if one of the drones does get knocked out of the sky, by whatever means, a counter sniper attack shooting at the drones, or they run into some kind of feature that knocks them to the ground, they could then blame the drones on the same patsy they threw up in the hotel. Now, I don't know if this guy was a patsy or if he was just part of this whole thing actively, but his brother having ties to child pornography and there being this obvious connection to metal detectors inside of all these high rises in Vegas, it makes it pretty fucking obvious to me that there was profit in mind, and carrying out this attack was pretty beneficial to the military industrial complex because they were able to see how these drone strike squads could actually affect large groups of people, and also their kill potential, as heartless as that sounds. But you have a large group of people here gathering for a concert. This is very similar to how people would be gathering together for a protest. And if you look at the sky, you can see these lights flying around, and you hear this sound in the beginning of the video whenever you listen to the actual footage. I've cut out all the audio for this purpose. But whenever you listen to the actual footage, you can actually quite clearly hear helicopter blades, but not quite helicopter blades. To me, it's a rotor of a different kind. This kind of technology has been available to us for a long time. The first person to make a weaponized remote control vehicle was Nikola Tesla in the 1890s or 1900s, the first decade of last century. 107 years ago at least. I'm pretty sure it was more than that though, but he created a remote controlled boat that he tried to sell to the military. Now we have the ability to outfit these drones, whether they're terrestrial drones or flying drones, with automatic weapons. Also things like detonation devices, rocket launchers, grenade launchers. I just want you to see how often these pyramid eyes are put into these shots, where this man is apparently filming all the carnage happening at the shooting. I also want you to look and see how high his perspective is compared to the people standing around him. That does not mean he's tall, it means he's shooting from up high. And why is that? He probably has glasses or a head-mounted camera system, and is probably one of the people charged in either videotaping the effect of this. You can tell by how calm he is throughout the entire shooting. Or he is actually, instead of controlling a phone or a tablet, which he apparently is, doing, I believe that he's probably using one of those devices to control these drones. There's a camera on the back of the device that you can see in this video coming up that I'll show you. But also, this appears to be some kind of head-mounted camera system, just judging by how tall he is off the ground But look at that Pyramid Eye again. They keep showing the Pyramid Eye, and this guy actually walks around and tracks actively the air. He knows it's not coming from the Mandalay Bay, even though he keeps telling people they're coming from the roof. I think he's just trying to spread disinformation actively during the incident. But pay attention to the skies, people. You'll see flashing lights that were obviously not helicopter lights, and the flashing of muzzle. The muzzle flash is happening below the supposed belly lights of the helicopter, the safety lights, a good distance below, if we are to assume that it's an actual helicopter. No, these are drones. We have the ability right now to do amazing things with drones. If you've seen the Super Bowl with Lady Gaga, I believe, the drones that made the American flag, little tiny micro drones that all fly in a pattern based off an algorithm, equal spacing apart, and heavy winds even. These are little tiny things, 4 inches big, that weigh less than an ounce. We can do amazing, remarkable things just with quadcopter drones. I know it's not beyond our ability to attach automatic weapons. Grenade launchers, whether or not it's... Look at that. Flashes coming straight from that guy. Pretty obvious. Just look at that. Aircraft shooting at the crowds. One man even said he felt like the bullets were coming from the sky, like from heaven, shooting down at them. Obviously, that's not the case. Maybe. We deserve worse than that from heaven, but it is pretty obvious to me that if someone were to knock down one of those drones from the sky, and if it had been captured by enough cell phones or the quote-unquote media, and they were forced to actually comment on it, they would have said, oh yeah, this guy had so much money because he was a millionaire, he was able to afford these drones to help him in his killing spree. Obviously, that's not the case, and they didn't get caught, so they didn't have to say shit about it. But it's pretty obvious to anyone that's an onlooker that this guy is focused not on the concert, but on the sky whenever he's audio taping and videotaping. The military has this equipment. And the fact that it happened right in front of a sphinx, obelisk, and pyramid, and eye shining light into the sky from a black pyramid is pretty fucking obvious. So these are some of the weapons that our government actually has currently at their disposal that they're telling us about, which I'm sure they have stuff way crazier than this. Check out the Wiggum's aerial support platform. That can carry a human in it. It looks like a fucking trash can you climb inside of that flies like a Segway up to 70 miles an hour. Can be dropped out of a plane instead of a parachute, and people can fly around like Yababa, blowing people's heads off from a great distance. Or the Wasp-2, a diamond-shaped, nuclear-based troop transport that was responsible for the Cache UFO incident in Texas, where 2 women actually died from radiation poisoning because it uses high jets of steam/propellant going out the bottom of this diamond-shaped Wasp-2 troop transport. It's supposed to carry these troops in these trash can type things called the Wasp-1, and then allow them to fly out. It would look almost like a fucking alien invasion if we were to use some of the technology we have. But they were able to lift people off the ground in a very heavy troop transport just by having a nuclear reactor-powered troop transport. They have this technology at their disposal. They don't want to tell us because they don't want to frighten us into thinking that, hey, our government's out to hurt people. Not only that, but they're using radiation to move around troops. A radioactive bomb they're sitting on top of. Some scary stuff. I mean, they didn't even want us... The population didn't even want America shooting satellites into space that they used these nuclear-powered engines as their propulsion system. Because if it exploded in the atmosphere, it would rain down on the population. Same thing goes for the Wasp-2. But this is much simpler technology, stuff that we have at our disposal, and with the right kind of camera jack hookup, one of those systems that float as you're running, that hangs from the cameraman's chest. or some kind of active recoil system like this one has, it is easy to see how someone can make one of these in their backyard. You just have to have a little bit of knowledge about recoil. Look at all the different weapons you can mount on the bottom of these drone attack vehicles. It's absolutely stunning. They don't have to risk anybody at all. Just a guy in some underground base all the way across the world and some satellites to help link up data exchange. And you don't have to risk a human. You can just send these things in and start blasting. Which is, maybe good if we get into war, but really it's not, because we're not getting into any wars that we actually need to be into. They use cameras all the time filming concerts mounted from drone aircraft. I think the people at the concert were used to seeing these cameras fly around, and they mistook the drones above those drones as just, another camera rig. Not the case. As you can see, they can hurt just with their blades. But they've been using concerts for quite a long time. $34 million for one of these camera rigs, the flying camera, called Lily. But they're using concerts all the time to film the audience, to film the actual entertainers, etc. They're even working on building a flying hover bike using just copter technology. And it looks badass, and it would be so fun to ride. But instead of giving this kind of technology to us, which is pretty baseline at this point, they still rather mount machine guns to it and try to kill people. So I think this was a test not only of this system, but to see if Americans would even notice that they were getting shot from drone aircraft above them. And I think it was pretty successful, considering the government didn't have a single drone get lost. People didn't even realize that, and the closest they were getting to actually identifying what was killing people is a helicopter. Come on, people, they would not have helicopters down there with military men sticking out the side of those things shooting guns. This is not the case. That's too many people would see that. Someone could decide to not pull a trigger and kill American citizens, especially if they were American citizen soldiers themselves. So I think it's far more likely that it happened with drone aircraft, probably flown by someone who has a sociopathic disorder. Probably somewhere like Arizona, deep underground. But who knows? Nevada's full of deep underground military bases too. But these drones are so sophisticated. Amazon wanted to deliver packages this way. Domino's Pizza wants to deliver pizzas this way. You don't think they can deliver weapons fire or death with these things? Lots of people have been killed with these already in America. I'm sure a couple of the families that survived Hellfire missile bombings from Predator drones would agree with me. So, it's a dangerous thing to have automatic death flying in our sky wielding automatic machine guns and carbine M4s and grenade launchers and even things like pepper spray or sonic weapons or microwave guns. This is dangerous. It's a dangerous weapon system, and we should definitely look into the military industrial complex supplying military grade weapons to the people we consider to be our police officers.
Let me show you a few of the features here so you'll understand why I say this is truly a weapon of the future. In the next 10, maybe 15 years, shit is going to get very real. We're talking about some pretty sophisticated warfare, and the soldiers are going to need technology like this to get above the combat, around their enemies, and get into tight spaces. This is why Charlene is unlike anything I've ever seen, and I've seen some crazy shit. Now, most of the quadrotors that you've seen on YouTube are doing some pretty sophisticated maneuvers, and none of those toys is equipped with a submachine gun and a 100-round magazine. Also, Charlene is capable of flying up to 30 miles per hour at altitudes of a quarter-mile high. Oh, and it only takes one professional Russian and these fancy tablets to kill you. This thing in itself is pretty impressive. It's got a lot of cool features. The most impressive thing is you see everything that the quadrotor sees. So, the biggest benefit is getting that bird's eye view of what's in front of you. And once you know what's in front of you, maybe you don't want that in front of you anymore. Going to send Charlene over the hill, see what we can see. Looks like we've got some lost and confused visitors over there. Let's take a closer look. No, I don't think I recognize any of those guys. Let's take them out. Awesome. Look at the guy's head rolling down here. Let's try something else. So we've seen what Charlene is capable of doing on a recon mission. Now let's try putting her in a situation she's well suited for. Sneaking up on some evil beaches and hard to reach places. It looks like our friends here decided to have a little dinner party. They didn't even invite us. One of them brought a whole bucket of gasoline. We'll just have to show these guys a little hospitality, Charlene style. Zombie terrorists know how to have a good time. Well, my friend, it's been a pretty epic day, but I'm not sure we've blown up enough shit quite yet, so lucky for us, this baby is equipped with a self-destruct payload with a 15-foot blast radius. So yes, my friends, as much as it pains me, I'm going to blow this thing up. Want to thank my friend Yuri for letting me borrow his rides. Thanks, buddy. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves as much as I did. Looks like the future's going to be fun. But if you can't wait another 15 years, my friends are telling me that this baby might just be in the next Call of Duty game, which would be the shit.